Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the NASA space rovers. July 7th, 2003, we launched Opportunity, which was the twin rover to Spirit. Their mission was to go to Mars and collect data on whether or not water had ever existed on the planet. The two rovers were geologists. They were designed to be like human geologists. They would go up and they would collect samples and examine samples for their composition, take photos of them, and drill through them with lasers. Because everybody likes lasers. Lasers mean science. But actually, no, it's a really useful tool because they could measure the kind of gases produced when the laser was drilling, and they could get a better idea of the composition of the rocks. They also designed them to literally taste the rocks. This is something they teach you in geology, and he's got so many opinions on everything. When you get a degree in geology, let me know. I went to school for geology, and one of the things they teach you is you don't just use your eyes and your hands and the diagnostic tools, but you also sometimes pick up rocks and lick them. And I said, yo, I'm good. Hard stop. I'm not doing that. There's too many dogs in this geology camp. There are too many dogs on digs. I'm not licking any rocks. But Spirit and Opportunity didn't really care about that. So they gladly would go up to rocks and taste the rocks. Why is Opportunity important? Well, Opportunity is the little rover that could. It was designed for a 90-day mission, and it lasted for 14.5 years, which is incredible. Go NASA. Your engineers rocked that one. Its twin, Spirit, actually lasted way longer than it was supposed to as well. They were launched in 2003, and it lasted until 2010. Now, when I say lasted, it doesn't mean that they're actually not working or damaged or broken. It just, usually in this case, it means that for some reason their batteries didn't recharge. What happened to Opportunity was it was caught in a global Martian sandstorm, which covered its solar panels so it couldn't recharge the batteries. They sent the signal to the rover. The rover went into hibernation mode, and so they were hoping that this past 90 days they would send a signal to Opportunity and it would initiate the dust off program, which clears the solar panels and allows the batteries to charge. Unfortunately, when they sent the signal 90 days ago, Opportunity didn't answer. And so they've concluded that Opportunity's mission is complete. And that is why they're actually going to be giving it one more chance. They are going to send it one more signal to see if it answers. And after that, it will be considered a dead rover. There were 3 rovers on Mars at one point, and now Curiosity is the only one left. But Curiosity is a biologist, so it should be fine by itself. Interesting facts about Opportunity. There is a camera on Opportunity that stands about 5'2". They made the camera 5'2" because that is the average eye height of a human being. So when you're looking at panoramic photos of Mars, it's eye height and makes it way easier to grasp the scale of the planet, how far things are away, and it makes you, the viewer, feel immersed in the Martian landscape. Opportunity is considered the good sister of the 2 rovers because the Spirit rover, when it landed, its first mission was go over and touch that rock. And so they fired it up. They got the signal back. It charged its batteries. It went over to a rock and it touched the rock and then it stopped talking. So they shut it down, restarted it like good IT people, found a rock, went over to the rock, touched the rock, and it stopped communicating. And then eventually it sent a memory full message, and so they dumped the memory, restarted it. It went over, it touched the rock, and it communicated that it had touched the rock. And so that is why Spirit is the bad sister, because when Opportunity did it, it landed, it bounced more than they anticipated, so it landed 25 meters further from the anticipated landing spot, but they were like, okay, that's cool, we're landing. It deployed its solar panels, charged its batteries, turned on, found a rock, touched the rock, and communicated back to NASA. Oh boy, but guess what? That first rock that Opportunity touched wasn't from Mars. It was a meteorite. So they were excited. They got a lot of really cool data. And it is the first rock that we have found on another planet that's not actually from that planet. So we got a lot of really cool data out of it. And we found a crater that we didn't know exist. And that is the little tiny impact crater that it wound up landing in, Eagle Crater. We'll show you a picture of that here in just a sec. Thank you, NASA, for all of the wonderful photos that you have uploaded. Now, this wouldn't be on Let's Get Weird unless there was something weird. So, what's weird about this whole Opportunity thing? People are mourning the rover. Moment of silence. Opportunity was an incredibly important scientific tool, but people, over time, anthropomorphized the rover, which is the part that I find the most fascinating. People were really, really upset that this rover had gone offline. There's a really brilliant science writer for KPCC named Jacob Margolis, and he is actually the one who helped anthropomorphize Opportunity. There is this quote going around, it's on t-shirts and posters and bumper stickers, that my battery is low and it's getting dark. And that is the supposed last message for the Opportunity rover. And that's sort of true. What he did was he took the last transmissions from the Opportunity rover and then translated them into plain English, which helps human beings, us human beings, the creators of the rover, identify with this object, this robot that we have built. And it really is a brilliant way of getting people to connect with an independent scientific tool that's out there roaming around and doing very human things like collecting data and tasting rocks. The reason I think that Jacob Margolis is so brilliant for having helped anthropomorphize this is because the public needs to be engaged in science. They need to know where their money is going. They need to be excited about things. Even if there isn't a human present on that planet, they need to be interested, because there are people out there who are sending you all kinds of disinformation. And it's important that we explore other planets. It's important that we explore this planet because we still don't know enough about oceans. So be involved in public grant science. Be involved in government-funded science. Otherwise, before you know, all we're going to have are publicly owned space places. And I'm not saying that things like SpaceX are necessarily bad. I think that they're great because those people have money to put funding in. But you, as a taxpayer, can say, think we should go back to the moon. And you can say it really loud. You can say, I think we should at least send a rover back to the moon. There's so much information that we can get. And honestly, it's actually safer when we send these rovers. So maybe that's what you should be telling your lawmakers. Send a rover to the moon. Everybody else is doing it. The Chinese are doing it. The Israelis are doing it. Come on, get on the bandwagon. Let's send a rover to the moon. If we can send one to Mars, I mean, the moon is practically like going to your next door. What the Opportunity rover actually did was it sent a signal that it was losing power. And then it went through a data saving thing where it dumped all of the data that it had collected that hadn't been transmitted back to NASA so that we wouldn't lose that information. And then it sent the signal that its battery wasn't charging. So basically, it did say, my battery is low and it is getting dark, as that huge Martian-wide sandstorm came in. I think it's brilliant because this whole time it's been sending messages. Like the first message it sent was basically, I'm here, just transmitting that it was working and its coordinates. It didn't actually say, I'm here. But a science writer translated that into basic English for us. And other messages as time has gone on, like, I've found evidence of water. It found those blueberry rocks. They're not actually called blueberries, but they got nicknamed that in the press. They're concretions, and they are absolute evidence that water did exist at one point on the Martian surface. And then there are other things, like at one point Opportunity got stuck in a crater that was really, really sandy. And as they tried to get it out, they turned the camera around so they could see that this huge track that they had created had sunlight shining on it. And the sun caused a certain type of reflection. And they used the albedo, which is the length of the reflection, to calculate whether or not there was actually water in the soil. And they have proven that there is water on Mars. And they have proven that in the past, Mars was way wetter than it was, thanks to these brilliant little geologic rovers that were hanging out on the surface. And Opportunity, you lasted a beautiful 14.5 years. When you got to those 90 days, you said, I'm going to keep going to infinity and beyond. I want to say thank you, Opportunity, for getting people engaged in science, for all of the wonderful things that you did, all of the data that you collected, and also, I just want to say one thing. Everybody out there is also confusing this with the Curiosity rover, which is still active on Mars. And so everybody was really upset when you passed, when you shut down, when you stopped communicating, whatever happened, because they thought you were the rover that sings happy birthday to yourself every year.
On this special occasion, you will hear this.
And that's actually Curiosity. So I just wanted to clear that up, because I know that you're not the one who sings happy birthday to yourself every year. And I know that you're a kick-ass geologist. Geology for the win! Yeah! Have you enjoyed any of our videos about space or weird things or conspiracy theories, celebrity gossip, geeky stuff, or wrestling? Make sure that you like the channel, you subscribe, you comment, and you click the little bell so you get notifications when we're being weird.